My glass of water turned to blood. I should have known that something was terribly wrong. First, the blood. A week of blood. The rivers, blood. The wells, blood. Bowls of water in our home, blood. We couldn't bathe for a week. We had to dig wells along the riverbanks to get water. And our children were filthy, thirsty, and frightened. It was a disaster. I heard the waters in Goshen, where the Israelites lived, was untouched, clean, strange. Then the frogs. Frogs on our doorsteps, on our wells that, just a week ago, were blood. Frogs in the bloody water bowls in our homes, in our closets, in our beds, our bread baskets. And when the frogs died, the stench was thick and paralyzing. There were piles and mounds of dead frogs. Everywhere we looked, it was absolutely unbearable. I refused to go outside for days. And when I finally did, we were bombarded with gnats, little, tiny, aggravating gnats that hissed around my ears, messing in every corner of my eyes, in my nose, even my hair, covering our anus, covering every part of my body. No frogs in Goshen or gnats. What was going on? And the flies. We thought the gnats were bad, but the flies were worse. Far worse. And would you believe that flies covered the ground? Every step I took, my feet were surrounded with black, biting flies. Under my feet, in my feet, in between my toes. I'm telling you, this really happened. The skies above me were blanketed with hovering flies. Storm clouds of flies were ripping through Egypt like tornadoes. Everyone was wrapped in a cloak of flies. It felt as though it would never end. But then, in a single moment, the flies were gone. Not one. Honestly, they disappeared. I was beginning to think that there was a greater force behind all of this. Pharaoh's servants, one of Pharaoh's servants said that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was demanding to the prophet Moses that Pharaoh release the Israelites from slavery. And if he didn't, these plagues would continue. How could Pharaoh not listen? We knew that Pharaoh was a hard man, but we were quickly learning that his stubbornness was impenetrable and it was getting costly. When the flies left, we all took a deep, clean breath of fresh air and relaxed. Life was normal again. Children played outside. We went to the wells. We baked bread. We slept sweetly. The sheep pawed, the horse neighed, and it seemed as though peace had broken through the walls of blood, gnats, and flies. And then it happened. It was subtle at first. One sheep fell. Then a camel died. Then horses got dead. Cattle everywhere, dying. Every bit of livestock died. The Israelites' livestock was spared. The next day, boils attacked people and animals alike. People were hiding in their homes, under blankets, in corners. Mothers hid their babies in full ovens to try and somehow escape the strange affliction. When night fell, a pounding on the rooftops began and became thunderous. Hail purplized Egypt, some as big as home for the locusts. The land was plastered with these horrifying creatures. Darkness never turned to day. The land was black. There was no light anywhere. God was angry, and Pharaoh was unrelentless. And again, Goshen, where the sun continued to shine, remained untouched. Not a single hailstone, not a single boil, and yes, not a single locust. Pharaoh's unwillingness to free the Israelites cost the entire land of Egypt. Our safety, our home, our livestock, our crops, everything. I'm certain there could be nothing worse. Until the final night, all across Egypt, screaming cries of mothers and fathers, aunts and uncles and grandparents, children, mourning the death of every firstborn son of every Egyptian family, from the heights of Pharaoh's palace to the lowest huts of servants, young babies, boys, and men were dead. It was the absolute worst night of our lives. Not a single Israelite child was touched. This God, this protective God of his people, stopped at nothing to free Israel, to take care of his own, to love and protect his home. But I ask you, what kind of God would sacrifice a child for the sake of his people? For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life.